So this is Next England Captain, and again, please bear in mind this is, you can probably tell here, this is a low ink print and play card mat. I believe the real ones will be A5. This is A4. This is just printed literally on a piece of A4 paper. The real version, from looks of it, has kind of a nice, almost pitch kind of quality background to it. So again, please don't take this as any indication of the quality. The game will also come. Each person will have 5 red cylinders. I've got a blue player and I've got a red player over here next to me. Here he is. So essentially, as you can tell, this is a card game, or technically a piece of paper game, because I didn't have time or the resources to print out on card. What you're going to be doing, you're going to be drafting cards into your hand, and then on your turn, you get to choose to play cards. And what you're going to essentially do is play cards to one of these stacks, if you like. So you've got one that represents your club, your England career, your status, that's kind of your personal life, where you are in the squad, final, that's kind of, well, we'll come to that later, and money. What you're trying to do is build up the best tableau you can have. However, you only get to play 5 times. That's represented by these career moves. So basically, when you play a card, you put one of your markers down, and you can do this 5 times. Now, you'll also notice there are 2 special spots. The blue one lets you write your own history, where you can dig through the discard pile and play a card. And this is your year, lets you play 2 cards of one colour. So what's going to happen? The player's going to have a hand of cards. So let's say we've got 4 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I know these are different sizes. I tried to trim them afterwards and then realised I didn't bring any scissors with me. So again, excuse the quality. So as you can see, these are all colour coded. So we've got 2 statuses. We've got a club and we've got a money. So if we look at some of these, for example, this is a good one to look at, the face of world football. So this is, I think, the most highest money points. This is 8 that you can have. But however, you obviously need certain things if this would focus, which apparently it's not going to. So this requires, to play the face of world football, you need to be an England regular, and you need to have be playing at a 7+ club. Now clubs only go up to 9, so it's not the easiest to get out. If you look at the girlfriend, for example, there's no requirements to play it, and it allows you to play either the wife or celebrity wife. The celebrity wife allows children. But to get the celebrity wife, you need to again be at a successful club and either have a girlfriend, a foreign move, or car crash personality. And finally, one of the clubs. So this is Wearmouth FC, which I presume is meant to be Sunderland, I guess. And again, there's no requirement. You can play at any time. And if you can see it in red, which you might not be able to, this will refuse to focus, but it says with a minimum level 7 squad card, you're eligible for England. So depending on what club you're at, quite likely real life, you're not going to be able to be able to play for England. At other clubs, you need to be more successful in terms of where you are in the squad. So basically, some clubs, your Manchester United, your Chelseas, and your Liverpools in particular, it's much easier to get recognised to play for England. Which again is quite nicely thematic, I think. So, let's say this is our hand. We now have 2 options. The first option we can do is, as I explained earlier, we can play one of our career moves. And then we can play some of these. Now, I can obviously play Wearmouth, because that's play at any time, so I could play that. And I could play my girlfriend, because there's no requirements. So I could, if I had an England one, if I had a squad, I could play all 4 of my cards if they were all different colours. Now, there is a limit. You can only play 1 colour per turn. However, let's say instead of doing that, I actually put it there. And remember, this lets you play 2 colours of the same card. So at this point, I could also play Celebrity Wife over the top. Well, I mean, I can't because I haven't got the right... I'm not a 7+ club. But if Wearmouth had been a 7+ club, I could have played both of them on 1 turn. Okay, but I couldn't play that, so there was no point doing that. So let's play, I played normal one. And at the end of my turn, I would draw back up to 4 cards. Okay, so now we have some squad cards. So this is an example where maybe next turn I might want to say, okay, well, I'm going to go to This Is My Year this time, and I could actually play both of these. Now you might say, well, why do I bother? I could have just played the luxury player. And you're absolutely right. I could have played instead of that there and just played the luxury player. However, playing in second team regular is, if you like, a good way to bury the card, because if I don't play it, at some point I'm going to discard it on the pile. And I'm going to discard it to the discard pile, and that could be bad. The reason it could be bad is, again, let's take it on a few turns. So let's say I've now got another 4 cards, and let's say it's a bit later in the game, and let's say I've shuffled the discard pile back in there. And now I decide, actually what I'm going to do is, there's nothing I can play. I mean, there is Management of Fallout, I could do that one. But let's say I have nothing I can play and I want to discard some of these cards. I could choose to discard. However, to discard, what you first do is you have to draw the top card of the deck, and you have to play it if you can. Now, I know I just stack this on top, so I know at that point, even though I don't want to, because I quite like being a luxury player, I don't want to be downgraded to a second team regular. But once I've done that, I can then start to discard stuff. So maybe I discard that because it's a bit pointless, and I discard that because I don't think I'm ever going to get it out. And maybe I don't want to have Celebrity Wife, so I'll discard that as well. And then I draw more cards. So that is really the essence of the game. It's all about kind of taking a risk of when do you discard and take the risk of drawing something that, okay, in this case, I drew a child. I can't play a child yet because I haven't got a wife. So actually that just gets discarded. But when do you take a risk? Yeah, let's say you had that. Let's say you had a 5 there, and then you kind of get back down to a 2. You know, when do you take the risk of discarding cards and not knowing what you're going to be drawing from the discard pile against kind of playing what you've got? So the other thing you're trying to do essentially is do all your career moves, because once you've done all 5, that triggers the end of the game. Once you've done your 5th career move, that triggers the end of the game. Any other players, or in this case the other player, then has one more move they can make. So if we're in this situation, which probably wouldn't happen, but let's say Blues just played their last one and Red's only got 1 career move at the moment because they're trying to get the perfect hand. Red's only got 1 more move left, so he could well finish in a situation like that. He's only been able to play 2 career moves. That's really how the game's played. So what we'll do, I will now take you through a kind of proper playthrough. What I'll try and do is focus on the blue player. I'll try not to show you what the red player is doing, and you'll see how it's played. And then I'll come up for my final thoughts and kind of talk about what I think about the game.